Episode number 5 of Quiet Please, and we finished the year with a banger. We've got Drew Stoltz, a.k.a. the Sleeze. You know him from the Golf Subpar podcast, but he's part of this upstart league called the Grass League, par 3 golf, under the lights. They had their finishing event earlier this week, so that was really cool. We talk a lot about that, and obviously we can catch up with him on anything golf because he's in the thick of it right now. Enjoy. My guest today is a member of the Minnesota Muskies in the Grass League, and along with his partner, Drew Kittleson, fired a 10 under par 44 to finish top 10 in the Grass League Championship over the weekend. Drew Stoltz, a.k.a. the Sleeze, welcome to Quiet Please.
Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. That top 10 doesn't sound so great given our first day performance. We put ourselves behind the 8 ball just a little bit on that first day, but yeah, played nice that second day. 10 under. That was some pretty good golf. That was kind of more like ourselves, but hell of a good time, man.
I bet it was. I watched. I'll tell you that I didn't get a chance to watch you guys play. I kind of picked it up with a few hours to go on Friday, but I was looking at your scorecard on Thursday, and I see a double bogey on it. And now, were you guys playing a scramble, or are you playing a best ball on Thursday?
Oh no, brother, scramble. This is the scramble heard around the world. I feel like I've talked about this one hole more than any hole I've ever played in my career. It is a chore to make a 5 in a scramble on any hole, even a par 5, with 4 people, in a 137-yard hole to make a 5. I'll walk you through it. We were 5 under. We weren't playing very well, but we had like 5 holes left or something. I was like, dude, let's just make a couple more. Shoot 7. We'll be right in the, we'll be 1 back, 2 back. Like nothing really good was going on. We get up to this hole. It's 137 yards. That's to the flag. 143 back edge. My partner, Drew Kittleson, he hits first, and he hits one starts out about 20 feet left. It looks like it's about the right distance. And the lights are on this thing, right? So you can see the green's lit up really good, but you can't see anything like around it. Okay. And we see the ball land, it bounces, and then it kind of just trickles out of sight of like where the lights are. And so people in the group are like, dude, I think it's like back edge, back fringe, or maybe just, just a foot or 2 over. Okay, cool. So I'm like, all right, dude, I'm going to go right at it. Obviously, it's like a perfect number for my pitching wedge. I hit it. Same kind of thing. I had like maybe 10 feet left. That was a pretty good shot when I hit it. Lands, bounces, and then kind of trickles and disappears. And I was like, shit, that's probably over 2. But like, dude, those are makeable. Like they're right there. They're back there. It couldn't be more than 15 feet from the hole. So start walking up. Get up there, I see the other guy's balls, see the other guys, start looking where I think Kitty should be. I don't see a ball. I'm like, that's weird. All right, let me go in a straight line, look for mine. I start kind of looking up, don't see anything. I get up there and there's no balls in. I'm like, dude, what's happened? And then all of a sudden, like 50 yards away, down the hill in the middle of the pitch black, there's a dude waving his phone with the light on, being like, there's 2 right here. And we go down and there's our ball. So like if you hit it a yard over that green, it falls off. And it's not overseeded, so it's just dormant Bermuda, and it's straight downhill for a while. Then it's a cart path, and then it bounces and it rolls into the desert. So like this thing ain't stopped. So we were 50 yards over the green on a 135-yard hole in 2, and then from there proceeded to butcher it too. We had like 30 feet for just gas one up there, 30 feet for par. Both run it like 2.5 feet by. I throw a coin down, don't mark it or anything. Just let's get off this hole. We're already disappointed with bogey. I horseshoe it. Look at my partner. Sorry, dude. Just go ahead and clean this up. We'll keep it moving. And then he horseshoed it as well. I was like, oh my God. Like we could play this hole 5,000 times and not make a 5 ever. Yep. So yeah, the shots weren't the greatest shots in the world, but they weren't, I didn't think double bogey worthy, but here we are. And that that takes the steam out of your sails just a little bit.
A little bit, but you guys got it together over the evening. It seemed like came back and had a good fun around. And I don't want to go without mentioning you're the co-host of Golf Subpar, one of the top golf podcasts in the game with Colt Knost. That's my number 1 choice when mowing the lawn. And you guys talked me into a great speaker that I use when I'm out riding in carts. So I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah. I know the one you're talking about. Good speakers. Indestructible, by the way.
Well, I want to go back to the opener, though, because, there's a lot to unpack. For those who don't know, or even those of us who sort of know now, what the heck did I watch on Peacock on Friday? Because it was incredible. Like, how do you explain this to people And was it even better than what your expectations were this time around? Because it seemed to be quite a scene.
Yeah, so I missed the first one. I'm on the Minnesota Muskies. A friend of ours from Minnesota bought the franchise, kind of called a group of us like, hey, here's the team. Me and Kittleson, we play together like the USGA four ball, all the stuff. We were always partners and everything. So he's like, you and Kitty will be a team. These will be our other guys. Great. I had to miss the one. They had one last year and I had to miss it. I was out of town for work. Couldn't do it. So this was my first one. And I'd heard about it and I kind of seen clips and stuff of what that event was like, but I didn't really know what to expect going into this one. The way I can explain it to anyone that's like unaware of it, there's a par 3 golf course, all par 3s here in Phoenix called Grass Clippings at Rolling Hills. And they put lights all around the place. And they've put together what's going to be like a series of events. But right now, it was this event in December. And it's 2-man teams. The franchises that kind of operate as like an NBA franchise would. You got 8 guys on a team, 4 teams of 2. And you go out there and you compete and you play scramble golf on par 3s. The holes range from there's one pretty short one that plays like 75, and then there's like 205. I think I had a 6-iron on one hole, but it's a lot of like 9s, 8s, wedges, and things like that. And when you play a scramble on par 3s, like it pretty much like levels the playing field pretty good. You know what I mean? Like there's no drivers, no one's hitting it 40 yards in front of the other guys, could reach par 5s. It just becomes like, yeah, like more or less, you're going to have a lot of good looks out there, assuming you got a couple of people that can play. And it turns into like who can make, you're going to have a lot of 12, 15 footer, that type of thing. So it's really fun because the leaderboard is just so jammed up. I mean, 2 shots is like 20 places. You know what I mean? So when you sprinkle a little dub stack in there on your first round, it makes it a little hard to claw your way back. But it exceeded my expectations. There was way more people out there than I thought. There was way more of a production. You come in the day before, you do like interviews for Peacock that they were airing throughout the thing, cameras watching, a bunch of people. And then afterwards they had like music, food, all kinds of stuff. It was a really cool event. I think it's going to pick up traction. I know a lot of people have like reached out to me, like, how do I get in this? What do I do? And like the word's kind of getting out. And I think they're planning on adding new franchises to the mix here fairly soon.
Interesting. Yeah. So I saw the franchise. There's like 11 of them right now, like you said, and then a variety of owners too. The couple that stood out, your boy Wyndham Clark owns a team, and then I saw that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the Dave Roberts, as in the manager of the LA Dodgers, or is that just same name?
That is a good question. I've not heard that it's the LA Dodgers. Not saying it couldn't be, because like Wahlberg's involved, right, with Wyndham's team on the municipal team, and there's some other well-known people that own teams or played in the deal. So it could be, but I don't know. I can't say yes or no. Let's just go with it, though. It sounds better that way.
Sounds good. And I saw the good guys in there too. So I mean, this thing, it was exciting because it goes to a playoff, and this guys I've never even heard of. Although I can remember seeing Dan Buckner play at some point on the Korn Ferry Tour, but Billy Haynes sinks 2 putts for the Tampa Bay Swamp Dogs, which is just so fun to say. He had this greasy one in regulation, to force this playoff, and then it's got this John Rahm-esque from the back of the green to go in and beat Allison Lee from the LPGA Tour and her boyfriend. I mean, come on, like you can't make that up.
Yeah, it was. The ending was awesome. And by the way, like the playoff was at 19 under. Like that's really good golf. Like Kitty and I played pretty well the second day. Could have been a few lower, but everybody has that, right? And we shot 10 under. So you basically need to do that 2 times. And Allison Lee, who's a stud, her boyfriend is Trey Kidd's a good, very, very close friend of mine. Play a lot of golf with him. He's a great player, but it ended perfectly. I've played with Buckner a little bit back in the day. It's been a long time on the Korn Ferry Tour, and he was always a little bit older than me, but good players, man, great golf. And then you get the playoff, and for it to walk off with it was like a 40-footer. Everyone was hitting it back there on the second day, because it's like in this bowl on the right side, and you think you can use the slope, which you could if you can get it the right distance, but anything that lands pin high or even short kind of hits on a down slope and just shoots to the back. So like everyone was hitting it back there, and I didn't see anybody. I hung out there, had some drinks, and was watching people finish. I didn't see anybody even sniff making it from back there until the playoff.
Yeah. Allison Lee hit actually a good shot. And I think she was at an advantage because she could kind of run it up there because, she doesn't hit it as far, didn't have as much spin on the ball. So she chipped an 8-iron and it just kind of got up there cozy. And you're like, oh, this looks really good for them. And then all those guys made it on. And then at that point, that putt had to be quite difficult to hold to kind of keep the thing going. There were some great names in there. I mean, I was texting my buddies while I was watching it. You know, Danny Wax, I referenced to you. I mean, you know, Danny said they're one of the top Jewish teams in the league. And that guy, I mean, he still rolls the rock, by the way. I didn't realize Rick Neuheisel's son, Joe.
Good player.
Yep. Good player. George Gankis, my buddy was cracking up because he's like, George Gankis has Crocs on right now, and he's out playing golf underneath the lights in Arizona. So that was a good one to see.
Yeah, he was in the group they were the group in front of us the first day. We had a great pairing. We got Mark Mulder and Marty Fish.
Yeah.
In the first round, and then Gankis was in front of us, and you know, you could see them going around, like doing all the like. There's a bunch of people watching that. You know, there was a good amount of people with a lot of the groups, but they were out there. D Wax is a good friend of mine, great player. Like the whole like, it was like everyone wanted to win. There's a pretty decent clip of cash that's available for this thing too. Yeah, and like I don't know how it's all structured, but like it goes to the team, and then I don't know how much players get. Depends on which team you're on, probably. But like everyone wants to win that thing. You know what I mean? Like people were getting pissed when they hit bad shots. Like we were. After we made the double, I was like, damn, like realistically, it's like, dude, we're gonna have to go ham for the last 23 holes to have a chance. So it's like it's competitive, and there's a good amount of money up on the line, but also it's a hang. It's a most people are grabbing drinks after hanging, going to the grandstands, listening to music, whatever, just having it's like a bar vibe afterwards, but with way more people.
Well, and they were referencing, I think one of the ownership groups owns a bar there in the Arizona area. So, I mean, it seemed like I loved how grassroots it was. And then I love how people embraced it too. You referenced the swamp dogs, and then there was a couple alligators out there on Friday. I mean, there was a live one, and then there was a guy dressed up in a Halloween alligator costume. I mean, and it was just really fun.
Yeah, that's my boy, Ben Herman. He owns Silverleaf up here in Scottsdale, which is a private club. He's the owner of the. I think they're Tampa. What are they? Tampa Bay Swamp Dogs. Yeah, he got a live gator, brought it out there. There was a donkey they had out there that was like carrying around coolers at time. You know, you see some shit you don't see at normal golf tournaments. But like I was saying, like I feel like there's such an appetite for that right now. Like golf is popular right now. You go to courses, like they're full. People loving to play all this stuff. The only thing that's not popular is like the PGA Tour product. Like people aren't tuning into that like they are anymore. People are like, the young kids are gravitating towards like the YouTube stuff, like Bryson going crazy right now, but more of these like fun things and less on, you know, the tournament golf side. So I feel like this is kind of where golf's heading.
Yeah, I want to dig down on that a little bit more because that's where I was going with this, and then I'll circle back to the question I was going to ask you next. But I'll give you this. On Wednesday here in Omaha, I head to the Creighton Blue Jays basketball game, and I'm a huge Creighton fan, and they had #1 Kansas in town that night. So it was quite a scene here in Omaha, and they went on to win the game by like 10. It was pretty cool, but I'm kind of texting beforehand with Coach McDermott's son, Nick, who you probably know. He's a caddy out on tour for Nate Lashley, who another guy that you probably know, a couple Arizona guys. And so I was going to meet up with them before the game, and I'm milling down by courtside, and Nate's with the head of the Nebraska Golf Association. I'm like, man, what are you guys doing down here and stuff? And then I looked to my side. I'm like, who's this guy? And I go, I know that guy. And it's Rich Lerner from the Golf Channel. And so here I'm chatting up Rich Lerner beforehand, and I'm like telling him, I go, you know, we were, you know, catching up. I had talked to him one other time, and I said, you know, do you know about this grass league thing that's going on? And he had no idea. I go, it's on your network, man. So I was kind of putting it on his radar. And on Friday, I went to the banquet that Nate was in town for. They were honoring Trevor Gacheski, Scott's son, who won the U.S. Junior Amateur this year. I mean, unbelievable feat. And Rich was the featured speaker at the end. So I had a chance to go catch the end of Rich's, and he's amazing at what he does, and he had some great stories. But it was just kind of this interesting contrast for me because I left there, I went home, and I turned on an app on my TV, and I watched what you guys were doing, and it made me think of, like, you know, what's the PGA Tour got going on right now? But then now the Golf League is launching on ESPN in a month. You've got Live that we all know about. You've got YouTube that you referenced, the Netflix series, the Showdown that's happening in a couple weeks. Like, where does, you kind of highlighted where your guys' kind of thing fits in, but where do you think of where golf is now and where it's going?
Yeah, I think it's morphing more. This is my take on it. Like, with all the bullshit that's gone on between Live and PGA, and here's the guy that leaves, he goes over there and he's getting $1 trillion, and then this guy's rumored to go, and then they want to play, they want world golf ranking points, but they're not getting them, and can they play in the majors and the I feel like I have friends who are like middle of the road golf fans. My brother, great example, likes golf, he's not watching Sunday of John Deere, but he knows what's going on, and he's watching majors, and he's more involved than most, actually. And like for him, he's just like, dude, I don't even know what the fuck's going on anymore. Like, this thing's just gotten so like, call me when it's the Masters, call me when it's the US. So like, I'll tune in for the majors and stuff, but like, they're kind of losing me with all this crap. And now the PGA Tour players are getting paid a ton, and now they're shrinking the tour. And they, when Live started, they're like, oh, that's stupid. Limited fields, no cuts, guaranteed money. And now you look at the PGA Tour, like, what are the signature events? Limited fields, no cuts, guaranteed money. It's like they've changed into everything they said sucked about the game. And I think just all the noise around it has kind of worn people out to where they're like, I love golf, but I'm sick of this. So I'll find the alternative. What is that? And now you got your YouTube guys, your Bob Does Sports, who is an awesome dude. They're the boys. The good stuff, I think, is like more probably like a younger audience, but they're crushing. Bryson, like, I think golf is going more towards that. There's so many more places now in the States where you can go and wear a t-shirt untucked and play golf and listen to some music. I mean, you have to be an asshole about it and play it so the whole course can hear it. But like, it's like you go there to have a good time now. Whereas I think golf, 15, 20 years ago, you rewind it and it's like country club, stuffy, tucked in shirt, goofy pants and a fat ass type thing, right? Like that's golf. So I think that's where it's heading. And I think that it's a product of the way of where the professional game is right now, and it's just kind of worn some people thin, and they're like, screw it, I love golf, but I don't need this. They've lost me. All the best guys are in different places. What's going on? They're arguing over money. The average person, I don't think, wants to hear all that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, because people are sitting down watching, hacks playing on YouTube series, but they're doing some funny things, and that's driving the needle. And like what Bryson did there for a couple of weeks, where he's trying to make a hole in one over his house, like, I mean, absolutely blew the doors off the thing, and it wasn't even a golf tournament. Like, that was pretty impressive. What do you think of his little reboot here in the last 2 years? Because I remember encountering him, when I was caddying full time on tour, his first couple of years, and obviously very good player, but he was really insulated. He didn't quite have very much perspective. He kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and certainly he had fans, but it was kind of like, I don't know about this guy. And I swear, the last year or two, somebody's either gotten in his ear or he's made a conscious decision, but he's a whole different person. At least it appears. I haven't been around him in a while, but what are your thoughts on the way Bryson is right now?
Yeah, I think both of those things. I think it's probably a decision. He probably realized, like, maybe, I don't have the best image right now. And I'm sure his team got around him like, hey, we gotta change things here. And I would say that nobody in golf has likability has increased on both sides meaning Live fans and PGA Tour fans. Like, I feel like there's such a line in the middle. You're either one or the other, which I think is kind of bullshit. But like, all right, Rahm goes over to Live. He gains a ton of the Live fans, right? They love John Rahm now, but he probably lost some of the people that loved him on the PGA Tour, right? And you can name that for Brooks, DJ, Bryson, I feel like, is the only one that's gone over there and is more liked on both sides. Like, his popularity is huge on both sides now. Like that US Open coming down the stretch. I mean, like, he's turned himself into like one of the needle movers, and he's so different. Like, he goes through the bulk up phase, starts trying to hit it 400 yards. All of a sudden we're talking about, you need to, Bryson proof Augusta National. And then he ramps it back. Like, all right, this isn't sustainable. And now I think he's like in his happy medium. Like, he's found the right place to operate in terms of playing good golf, but he's also leaned into this YouTube, like his breaking 50. He's got people on from all different type of, he's had like anywhere from Brady to Trump to you name it. You know what I mean? Like, it's across the spectrum, and he's done a really good job of, like, he and his team of like rebranding him into being like a very likable guy, I would say. Whereas before, especially early on in his career, is like super talented. Yeah. But I don't think, like, he said some things and did some things that people were like, turned off by.
Yeah. And he showed up in my conversation with Rich, because I was like, hey, I had earlier on this year, I've had some good guests this year, actually, but Johnson Wagner came on early on in the year, and I was like, hey, how about Johnson? And he's like, Johnson was the all-star of the year in his opinion, but we talked about the thing at the U.S. Open, and guess who was involved with that viral moment for Johnson after the tournament over was Bryson DeChambeau, was the one that blew it all up. And he's going to be a part of this mix-up in Vegas in a couple of weeks here. I know you guys were talking about that on your Golf Subpar podcast recently. I kind of faded in the background for me, but I'm kind of excited about it now. Rory and Scotty versus Bryson and Brooks. What's your take on what we're going to see in that and who you might like? I mean, I got to think Rory and Scotty have to be the favorites.
I mean, I think anyone that teams up with Scotty right now, I think you or I could go play with Scotty and be the favorite. Just turn him on and let him go. We keep trying. As far as this match goes, I feel like we keep trying different vintages of this thing, right? We're back to square one where it started off with Tiger Phil at Shadow Creek, by the way. And I think that was marketed as like mic'd up, engaging, interactive, talking to each other, and it turned out to be, Phil tried to do that, but Tiger was like, nah. And so you can't have one guy, like it doesn't work.
Right.
Like, it just ended up being pretty mediocre golf under the lights for a bunch of money for those guys. And I don't think it hit. And they've tried different vintages. And I think it's really hard to get guys the way they've been doing it that are going to like carry a broadcast with their own commentary. And there's only a few guys that can do it. Phil probably being the best at it. Right.
Yeah.
So this one I'm interested to see, like, all right, is this like a serious match? Are they trying to beat each other? Do they care? Or is this kind of like, we've had the one under the lights down at Florida, was like fun and just joking around. And you had LPGA and PGA Tour players. You know what I mean? I'm kind of just curious to see, like, what is this? What's this look like? Is this like a real golf match between two live guys and two tour guys, and it's going to be cool and everyone tune in? Of course, it's like four of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
But is it? I've heard rumors it might be different formats, 6 holes, 6 holes, 6 holes, and things like that. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I think you make it one or the other. Either it's completely goofy and they're joking and laughing and engaging and talking, and it's something way different, or let's play a real match. Like, and they care. Maybe there's a difference in pay for the winners and stuff, which there's not. But that's kind of where I look at it, and I want to see what it looks like. Shadow Creek, though, under the lights, dude, is going to look sick. It might be freezing balls. It might snow, but it's going to be sick because they don't tee off till late.
Yeah, that will be good. And you referenced Scotty. I mean, he won going away yesterday. I saw something. And you've caddied a little bit on tour. I know you caddied for your boy Wyndham a little bit. I got out there a couple times last year, but they published Ted Scott's projected earnings for 2024. I read that this morning, and it didn't surprise me because he's had a monster year and there's a lot of money up for grabs right now. But they said, Ted made over $5 million in 2024. I mean, that's insane.
It's insanity. I mean, good for him. Like, Scotty picked the right time to become the guy. You know what I mean? Like, he was out there and he didn't win his first year. And he got on the Ryder Cup, still hadn't won, was kind of like the iffy pick in that 12 spot. Beats Rahm in singles that final day. And then, I mean, since then, dude, it's been all systems go. He comes out, wins Phoenix, wins a bunch of times in a row. And, like, he's just been lapping people ever since. So props to Scotty Scheffler for becoming head and shoulders the best player in the world at the time where golf became more lucrative than it's ever become in the history of the game. Like, guys are getting on the top 50 career money list now in like a couple of years, right? Because they're just making stupid money. And props to Ted Scott, by the way, for recognizing like this kid's going to be a world beater and getting on the bat. And I think he is a fantastic caddy. He's good. He does a lot to help Scotty, but that's a good bag to have. I think there's a lot of people that could, help Scotty win some golf tournaments. And but Ted's got the gig, and they're printing.
Yeah, I was telling Nate that. I mean, I was like, "Hey, Nate, if you hear of anything, I was trying to caddy the Bob Hope coming up this year. I was like, he's like, you're still trying to get out. I was like, yeah, man, like it's you're playing the lottery for a week. Like, I'd love to be out there. I mean, you've been out there a little bit. I mean, how much fun do you have when you go out and caddy? And do you have anything on your schedule in the near future, or was that just kind of some one-offs for Wyndham?
Yeah, we've done it twice at Colonial. Like, we talked for a while leading up for it. I was like, give me the bag one time, dude. This was pre-Wyndham being Wyndham major champion, Ryder Cup, all that. But I knew how good this kid was for a long time because, I've known him since he was a little kid. But I was like, give me on the bag, dude. Like, I'll freaking coach you around. You know what I mean? I'll make you have a good time. Like, you just need to be yourself. You're too tight and all this stuff. So we did it at Colonial one year. And we topped 20 the first year, which at that time was like a nice finish for him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Then we went back the following year, and he bogeyed 4 of the last 5 holes to miss the cut by a shot. Like everything possibly think of, like a likely, like get him to the house, like just chill out, dude. Always just a couple, and we're like hitting irons off tees on these short holes at Colonial, and you know, missing fairways and stuff. And like literally after that week, I think that was when he hit like one of his rock bottom. Like around that time, he was really struggling, wasn't happy, all the stuff. And then kind of did a reset, got the sports psychologist, and now it's talent. It's clear. You watch him play. Like I told him that after that. I was like, dude, you're a top 10 talent in the world. Talent. Your brain's like a bottom 10. Like it's terrible. You have to change. Do me a favor. Like you have to go see the sports psych. I can hook you up. Like Max is a close buddy. I was talking to Max about it, and they ended up working. Like you just have to change that. And then did, and look with him, man. It's been unbelievable. Yeah, I enjoy it hanging out there. I enjoy like caddying. It's been fun because our understanding on the caddying thing is like, look, dude, I'm a caddy. I'm gonna get you your numbers. You also, and by the way, feel free to double check them. Like you don't have to trust me on everything. I don't want to fuck anything up. More anything, like let's have a good time. Like it's not the end of the world. Like I feel it's a little less stressful than I think he probably has in a normal week with his boy Johnny Ellis.
Yeah. Johnny's great. So you know, you referenced your partner Drew Kittleson early on. You guys have done really well in some USG events. In fact, I think you guys were runner up in the 4-ball a couple years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, twice back to back runner up. Not champions at all, silvers only. So we have to rectify that hopefully at some point. But it's tough sledding with these college kids nowadays.
That is,
man. It's, you know, they're playing a little more golf and a little more sharp than dudes with actual jobs.
Yeah, it makes what you guys are doing even more unbelievable. I mean, I'll tell you, I've caddied the Masters one time, 2009, and we were paired in the first 2 rounds with Larry Mize and Drew Kittleson. And so I was out there with him in his Masters. And I don't know if you're aware of this story, and I don't know how much of the story I can tell, but I remember on Friday talking to his caddy, and Drew got after it on Thursday night, I think. And he's just kind of a little bit of a wild man, and he didn't make the cut, but I'll never forget that story. And I don't know if you know what I'm referencing from you got a chance to stay at the Crow's Nest that week.
Yeah, he enjoyed himself. I think he enjoyed his Augusta experience. But yeah, he's one of my best friends in the world, man. We play all this stuff. He was he was extremely good in college. Huge, another like talent-wise, super high. Lost to Danny Lee and Pinehurst at the finals of the USAM, gets the Masters, but like had all the talent in the world and just got out there, and it didn't happen for him quick, you know?
Yeah.
There was some missing at Q school and missing cuts and B tour and things like that. And I just think like his grind for it left, you know, like screw this. And he's left, but he's one of my best friends in the world. But yeah, he had himself a damn good time at the Masters, staying up there in the Crow's Nest. And by the way, so you were there when he hooped it on 11 for Eagle.
I guess so. I don't remember. That doesn't stand out. It wasn't the story I told, but it was Thursday or Friday.
I mean, dude, we replay it. He has it at his house on like a clip, and we like just turned it on randomly. It's the whole out with like, I think it's a 4-iron or something on 11. It's the last Eagle made on 11. The place goes nuts. The other night I went over to the house. We were going to this like little Christmas party or whatever. So I go over we're going to go have drinks earlier. I get in. He's like, what can I get you? I was like, just give me a tequila rocks. Thanks, dog. He's like, yeah, I got you. Comes over, hands it to me, and it's a cup. Masters, they give you glass. If you make it an Eagle crystal at the Masters, they give you the crystal, and it was in that, and I was like, that's fucking beautiful.
That's baller. That's funny because I mean, I bring his name up because you talk to people. If you've been to Augusta, you can kind of talk on it a little bit, and people are always asking about the contours, and I always tell this story from number 10, the hole before, and he was involved because it was like, hey, Drew was up first, and it was this back left pin at Augusta, and first time playing, and he plays it outside the right, and it goes 10 feet by, and it misses on the low side, and then Larry Mize goes up and plays like 6 times amount of break and hits it half as hard, and it goes in the side, and it's just kind of like illustrated. And Larry walked over the side. I goes, "This is their first time playing here," and he goes, "Well, no, So like it, I tell that story about Drew, but I need to go look up the one from 11. That's a good reminder to me, and tell him I said what's up.
Check him out. He had all his little fratsters out there from Florida State. They were in the gallery, and then pan over to him. Quickly got off of them because it's Augusta National. You know what I mean? and these are just like hooligans. But yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. Like he's got that crystal from the Masters and played in that thing.
You referenced a couple fun things, and then we'll get you out of here. You referenced Bob Does Sports earlier, and I'm a huge fan of that guy. Have you spent some time hanging out with Bob Does Sports?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, yeah, a good bit. I've done his show. So he came here coincidentally. It was about a year ago, call it. The last time I was out there, we went and played. He called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm coming to town. I want to do a show. I want us versus you and a partner, but y'all are gonna play best ball and we'll play scramble." And he's like, "And if you have a course," like I was like, "All right, let me call my boys at Grass Clippings. This would be cool. Like, under the lights, they're trying to get some pub. This would be good for them." And then they've had a relationship with him kind of a little bit, but I was like, I'll call Johnny Manziel. I was like, "Is Johnny cool? Like, is that who you want?" And he's like, yeah, that's perfect. You and Johnny versus us. Like, Johnny, yep, I'm in. We go down there and have a hell of a good time around the thing. We got smacked, by the way. You can't play best ball against the scramble. 3-man scramble versus a 2-man best ball is tough. Yeah, Fat was there, and he hit a lot of good, Perez hit a lot of good shots. Bobby can, and Colt Knost can roll putts, and then Perez gets to watch 2 of them. You know what I mean? So we got beat pretty good in that thing, but just had a hell of a time drinking. And like, yeah, we'll run into each other on the road. Like, there'd be Tahoe. They come to Scottsdale. They just recorded a few shows around here with like Rom, and I think Wyndham did it. So hang out with them then. I love those guys, man. Of all the guys in like whatever you want to call it, kind of like the golf YouTube world, where those are probably my closest buds. Just because I like what they do. They keep things fun. They're not trying to be the world's best golfers. They don't say they know the most about golf. They're not getting on and complaining about PGA Tour broadcasts or whatever. You know what I mean? I just want to have a good time. And I think that's why everyone likes them. They're great dudes.
Well, so then you probably have heard. Somebody was telling me the other day about this Happy Gilmore remake that they're working on right now. It's coming out in the summer. Do you have any intel on that? Because I'm hearing there's a lot of PGA Tour stars that are in this reboot. And when you think about the first one, the stars of that era were in the originals. So what do you know about the one that's coming out next summer?
Yeah, like more than I knew a few days ago, because we had Jordan Spieth on radio last week. We were just like, "Hey, what have you been doing?" He's had the wrist surgery, so he's been hanging out. And he started going, he's like, "Oh, I went up and filmed some stuff for Happy Gilmore too." I'm like, "Oh, I need to hear about like what is." I was like, "Do you have a speaking line?" He's like, "Yes, I do. If they choose to use it, I don't know if they will or not." But then he started rattling off all the people that were in it. Dude, I'm gonna miss a ton of them, but I mean, it's like. It's Jordan, it's I think Ricky, it's Brooks, it's Bryson, it's Lee Trevino, Jack Nicklaus, John Daly. Dude, he rattled off like half of the current top 15 and then a bunch of like older kind of icons too. So I don't know what the movie's gonna be. I know it's gonna release. I just found out earlier today that I believe it's going to release in July. They're done. They just wrapped filming it, and it's going to release in July. But I don't know if all these guys are jammed into one scene. You see them on one place, or if they're sprinkled like throughout the movie. But there's a shitload of current and former PGA Tour guys that are in that deal. Here's a little inside scoop. I've been informed that Marshall Mathers, Eminem, also makes a cameo in this film, so they got a lot of them, dude.
That's great. Yeah. I wonder if he's going to be caddying.
I don't know where M fits into it, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, I remember in the first one, I was always a huge Kevin Nealon fan growing up from Saturday Night Live. I wonder if they could somehow work him into this second time around.
Good luck, Pat. Yeah.
You're going to have those guys that have to play the guys that nobody's heard of, on the tour as well. Or maybe they don't do it that way, but that's such a legendary movie. Yeah, I want to get you out of here on a few things. Also, I just want to say on the announcing front with the Grass League, that was pretty sick. Ned Michaels did a fantastic job, and then he had a guy up in the booth with him, Todd Dobson, who I had never heard of, which he was really funny, and then Nick Rivers, and then of course PMAC, Parker McLaughlin, the short game chef, did a great job on the grounds. I thought the broadcast was fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch any of it because I was playing, they were hanging out there. I hope, and I don't know if you can or not. I hope I can go back into Peacock and it lives there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can go back and watch it and see what the actual product looked like, how it showed on TV. Compared to what it was like. But I think just like anything, like they'll get better and better and better each time, tweaking this thing, making it better. And I think they're going to end up with a nice product that a lot of people want to play in.
Yeah. Well, I know if you guys throw another mic into the mix next time around, certainly feel free to give me a ring, because I'd fly out there in a moment to be a part of that crew. Consider this my application. And if you've got some Muskies merchandise, is there any Muskies merchandise that I can go order online?
I don't know if you can order it online, but I got a ton of it, and so I could send some your way, dude. We'd be thrilled to have you on the Muskie side.
I'd rep it for
Done.
sure.
All right, done. I got you.
Thank you so much, Drew. So 3 questions, we'll get you out of here. What's your favorite new course that you played in 2024?
Okay. Stand by here. Stand by. Let me think of new course, meaning I had not played it prior to this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I got it. It was like a handful. Well, I should say 2 of them. Bobolink. I got to play Bobolink in Chicago, which is a fucking awesome course. Golf course, I think, is spectacular, but the hang, the vibe, the way it's operated, like it's a really nice club, but they're not like, they don't take themselves too seriously out there. Bobolink, spectacular. I'd heard a lot about it, and it lived up to the hype. And then actually on that same trip, we went up and played Whistling Straits, which was a lot. I was for the World Cup, I clearly didn't play it, and golf course wise, it was a lot more playable, and I liked it more than I thought I would, just like watching it. Like this place will just crush people. Like it's not, you know what I mean? If you're not a rock upper, but it's way more playable and gettable. And we also caught it on like a banner day, dude. It was like 72, wind blowing 2 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It was perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual. All right. So who's somebody that you're trying to get around in with right now? Maybe you've played with them before, but who he's texting right now. You say, let's get out there and tee it up together.
Let's see. Around town here, I mean, you see these guys so often. I think so. I've played a couple times here recently, but it's just with his schedule, my travel schedule, it's hard to link up sometimes to actually play golf. But Wyndham Clark, is like one of my best buddies. Out here, he's always a fun to play with. We have some new guys in town. I'll tell you, I just got to play with. It would be like one of the cool groups I got to play in is Rom put together a game with Jose Le Bias there, the ASU kid that won the USAM, and Preston Hayes, also like top 3, like future studs. You know what I mean? Like stars. And we all played together, and it was wild playing with him. Like I'm not the longest dude in the world. I ain't the shortest, right? Like I swing at about 111 mile an hour, more or less, every single time, and I've never felt like more of an old man. Like, oh my God, I play a different sport than these guys, than watching Jose Le and Preston hit it. Like Rom was the 3rd longest by like a pretty big gap in between him and Jose Le and Preston. And I was just like, man, that was a cool to see the kids, like, because they're gonna be the next guys, but to play with them before they are. I was like, man, we didn't have kids like that in college when I was, you know what I mean? Like we had like DJ and Webb Simpson and Anthony Kim were kind of like the dudes, but I played with them. They didn't hit it like that. They weren't doing that. It's just a different animal. So that was fun for actually. Ass kicked, but fun.
I like that. I had your boy JJ Colleen on earlier this year too. He told a funny story.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
From your ECU days.
All right, guys. Probably a lie.
All right, it's the final round of the Masters. I've been caddying for you all week long. You've been going along great, but I go out the night before and I accidentally slip and fall and break my leg, and you've got a 1-shot lead going into Sunday. Who are you going to get on the ringer to caddy for you in the final round of the Masters last second to get you across the finish line?
Wow, what a question. What a question. Well, I'd need somebody who's probably been around Augusta before. I know
maybe just somebody to keep you calm. I don't know what it takes for you to play your best.
Yeah, that's normally what I go to. It's just like give me a guy. You got to know golf, obviously, but like somebody that I just vibe well, that I enjoy spending time with and hanging with. Opposed to, like, I don't coach through every single thing. You know what I mean? But there's a caddy at the Rock named Patrick Stolpe. Just caddy for us at Grass Clippings. He's like the most positive, nice, best dude of all time. And like every time I have him as a caddy, I seem to play good because like, you know,
Yeah.
he'd be high on the list. Stolpe, he's looped in some stuff before too. Anybody who's a hell of a player goes and plays, like he still does like DP World Tour, Q School,
Oh
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So Stolpe, aka Sunshine, with
Love it.
and maybe my brother, who's like just the funniest fucking dude in the world. I love him, and he'd just be a good like to bring the tension down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He ain't gonna be coaching me on anything, but we'd have a good time while out there. So I'd be happy with either of those. But just being in the final round of the Masters would be pretty sweet too. I'd carry
Pretty
my
good.
own shit if it got me there.
And your boy Colt will be
Yeah.
up in the booth calling it. I'm sure he's going to make his way into the regular broadcast here pretty soon. So tell him I said what's up too. And hey, man, thanks for coming out here. Happy holidays, and I hope to run into you out there in 2025.
Absolutely, dude. Let me know. Shoot me a text anytime you're going to be on site somewhere. Would love to link up, grab a couple.
I'll send you my address too for that Muskies gear.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I'll load you up. I'll load you up with some gear.
Sweet. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it, man.